What happens when a young girl, caught between two worlds, a Russian aristocratic legacy and a humble British upbringing, sets her sights on an unconventional path? Helen Mirren's journey from school plays to Hollywood fame defies every rule, every stereotype, and every expectation. But beneath the glitz and glamour, a powerful story unfolds. A story of resilience, forbidden love, addiction, and battles against Hollywood's age-old prejudices. How did Helen go from unknown talent to groundbreaking icon? And what price did she pay for the spotlight? This isn't just a biography. It's the untold saga of a woman who refused to play by anyone else's script. This is the entire history of Helen Mirren. Helen's roots were far from ordinary. Her mother, Kathleen, was a working-class woman from West Ham, with humble origins and a straightforward British lineage. Her father, Vasily Petrovich Mironov, was a Russian aristocrat, descended from a line of notable figures in Russian history.
My father was born in Russia, of a very similar economic and intellectual background.
His family once enjoyed the wealth and privileges of aristocracy, including properties and influence, until the Russian Revolution turned their lives upside down. Forced to flee, the Mironov family sought refuge in England, leaving behind their former lives for a fresh start. As young Helen grew up, she knew of her father's heritage, but felt the weight of being a stranger to it. Her father had anglicized their last name to Mirren, determined to integrate his family into English society fully. This made her childhood appear like that of any other British schoolgirl. Yet, something in her blood called her to a different stage. For Helen, that stage was quite literal. Early on, she showed a knack for performance, earning the lead role in her primary school's production of Hansel and Gretel. Encouraged by this success, she pursued drama in secondary school, where her love for the stage flourished. But even then, her family's expectations lingered. Her father had hoped she'd choose a more sensible path. So, Helen enrolled in teaching college, following a path more stable and predictable. Then, at 18, she saw a local production of Hamlet, and the pull of theatre became irresistible. Ignoring the conventional route she'd been on, she auditioned for the National Youth Theatre. Her talent earned her a spot, and within 2 years, she was cast as Cleopatra in Antony and Cleopatra. This was her big break, the performance that truly launched her career. Soon after, she signed with agent Al Parker, and her journey into the world of acting began in earnest. With Parker's support, Helen Mirren's world opened up. She spent the 1960s building her skills in classic theatre, performing in everything from All's Well That Ends Well to The Two Gentlemen of Verona. She was diligent, determined, and, though she didn't realize it yet, on the brink of an explosion that would soon take her from the stage to the screen. Helen's path to stardom was far from straightforward. For years, she juggled her love for theatre with the film industry's demands, often finding herself on the sidelines, unsure if she would ever get the roles she felt she deserved. But in her own words, she decided not to wait for luck to come around. She would embrace every challenge, every role, and every experience that came her way, determined to carve out her own space in the world of acting. As the 1970s dawned, Helen was still steeped in the rigor of theatre, performing in both Shakespearean plays and avant-garde productions, always honing her craft. Yet, despite her success on stage, film offers didn't exactly come flooding in, and those that did were often minor. She took on small roles in movies like Press for Time and Herostratus, sometimes feeling disillusioned by the gap between her talent and the parts she was given. She knew she was capable of more. Around this time, frustrated with her lack of progress, Helen sought guidance from an unlikely source, a palm reader. Perhaps, she thought, this stranger could reveal some secret path to success, but instead, the reading left her more frustrated than before. The mystic had her scribble down every word, but in the end, she threw the paper away, realizing she needed to take her future into her own hands. This moment marked a turning point for Helen. Rather than rely on fate, she resolved to create her own opportunities. Through the late 70s, she kept pressing forward, and finally, in 1980, she landed a role that would change her career, The Long Good Friday. Playing the wife of a mob boss, Helen was more than just an accessory to the main character. her portrayal brought a sharp intelligence to the role, a balance of loyalty and strength that was impossible to ignore. When the film became a hit, critics praised her performance, and for the first time, Helen's name was noticed by audiences worldwide. Ironically, just as her career was hitting a new high, tragedy struck her personal life. That same year, her father passed away, missing her rise to prominence. It was a bittersweet time for Helen. While she was thrilled at her career's turn, the loss of her father left an undeniable void. Helen's success with The Long Good Friday didn't just open doors professionally, it led to a personal chapter she would always cherish. On the set of Excalibur, she met Irish actor Liam Neeson. Helen was already a rising star, while Neeson was still making his way in the industry. Their chemistry was immediate, and their relationship blossomed off-screen as well. Helen, with her characteristic generosity, even helped him get an agent, giving his career a boost just as her own was taking off. But fame in Hollywood also brought challenges. Amid the whirlwind of her blossoming career, Helen began to experiment with cocaine, a common indulgence among celebrities at the time. She was no stranger to the wild party scene, but it wasn't long before her casual use became a troubling habit. The turning point came when she learned that Klaus Barbie, the infamous Nazi torturer, had made his fortune dealing in cocaine. That knowledge shocked her to the core, and in an instant, she swore off the drug forever. To Helen, no high was worth contributing to the dark legacy of a man like Barbie. With her career on the rise and a newfound clarity, Helen stepped into her 40s with more confidence than ever before. Unlike many actresses of her generation who found opportunities dwindling with age, Helen embraced every role that came her way, defying Hollywood's expectations of what a leading lady could be. Her persistence led her to the part that would forever solidify her place in television history, the hard-nosed detective Jane Tennyson in Prime Suspect. But even as she became a household name, the industry and society would throw fresh challenges her way.
I'd like to have a look, please.
Are you sure? It's not a pretty sight.
I want to see her face.
Nobody else touch her, huh?
Helen was no stranger to breaking barriers, but Prime Suspect pushed her to confront the deeply ingrained sexism in the entertainment industry head-on. As Detective Jane Tennyson, she wasn't just playing a role, she was challenging every stereotype about women in positions of power. The stakes were higher than ever, and Helen was determined to make an impact. But would Hollywood and the public be ready for such a bold, uncompromising character? In 1991, Prime Suspect debuted on British television, and Helen's portrayal of Detective Chief Inspector Tennyson was nothing short of groundbreaking. Tennyson wasn't just a detective. She was a female officer navigating a male-dominated world, a character whose story mirrored the real struggles many women faced. Helen poured everything she had into the role, her fierce commitment to authenticity making Tennyson both complex and incredibly human. The series quickly became a hit, and Tennyson's character captivated audiences. But the production itself was no easy feat. Helen fought hard to bring the full weight of sexism and institutional barriers to life on screen. Behind the scenes, she pushed for realistic portrayals of the hardships women in law enforcement faced, rejecting any attempt to soften Tennyson's character or her struggles.
Right, Sergeant, I'm not going to take any crap from you. So what's it going to be? Are you going to work with me or not?
Helen's dedication paid off, with Prime Suspect earning critical acclaim and becoming a cultural touchstone, paving the way for future female leads in detective dramas. Helen's portrayal earned her international recognition, including her first Primetime Emmy Award. But the success of Prime Suspect was bittersweet. Helen realized that while the character of Tennyson was celebrated, the entertainment industry was still rife with the same discrimination and stereotypes she had fought to dismantle on screen. The impact of Prime Suspect was undeniable. Not only did it cement Helen's status as a formidable talent, but it also challenged Hollywood's expectations for women over 40. With each season, her character faced new challenges, and Helen too continued to push boundaries in her career, refusing to accept that her age would limit her opportunities. In the late 1990s, Helen was cast in the biographical film The Passion of Ayn Rand, where she played the controversial author. The role showcased Helen's ability to step into the skin of a complex, polarizing figure, and her performance won her another Emmy. At a time when many actresses saw their careers wane, Helen's commitment to complex roles allowed her career to thrive. However, her most defining role was yet to come. In 2006, director Stephen Frears approached Helen with a proposition to play Queen Elizabeth II in The Queen. It was a role that excited and conflicted her. Raised with her father's anti-monarchist sentiments, Helen had always viewed the crown with a healthy dose of skepticism. Yet, she was drawn to the challenge of portraying one of the most powerful women in the world. Her portrayal in The Queen was both sensitive and daring, capturing the Queen's struggle in the days following Princess Diana's death. Helen's nuanced performance earned her an Academy Award, and critics hailed her ability to humanize the Queen, blending stoic duty with subtle vulnerability. Ironically, her portrayal impressed the real Queen Elizabeth II herself, who extended a personal invitation for dinner at Buckingham Palace. In an unprecedented move, Helen declined, citing prior commitments. The decision caused a stir, with some viewing it as a slight, but Helen had her reasons. Despite the controversy, Helen continued to play the Queen in multiple roles throughout her career, forever linked with the character that had once conflicted her so deeply. Her relationship with the British monarchy was complex, but she had made peace with it on her terms. And as she stepped into her late 70s, Helen's career showed no signs of slowing down. As Helen reached her 70s, she defied every Hollywood convention about aging, refusing to fade quietly into the background. Instead, she leaned into new challenges and stayed firmly in the spotlight. While her peers were often relegated to supporting roles, Helen continued to headline, making it clear she wasn't done making her mark. But with the industry's rapid transformation, would Helen be able to keep up with Hollywood's ever-evolving expectations? In 2015, Helen joined the Fast and Furious franchise, an unexpected move that showed her desire to break out of conventional roles yet again. Playing Queenie, a no-nonsense crime family matriarch, Helen was as sharp-tongued as she was daring, and audiences loved her surprising presence in the high-octane action series. Her role in Fast and Furious marked another high point, proving that she could effortlessly bridge the gap between serious drama and blockbuster entertainment. Helen's versatility continued to astonish critics and audiences alike. In 2019, she starred in Catherine the Great, playing the legendary Russian empress who ruled with an iron will and a flair for drama. Helen had the role custom-tailored for her, bringing a regal authenticity that reflected her own aristocratic roots. The series was well received, and Helen's portrayal of Catherine was a reminder that she had never shied away from complicated, powerful women. But it wasn't just her career that kept evolving. Helen herself was finding new ways to connect with her fans. In interviews, she was candid about her thoughts on Hollywood's ageism, discussing her commitment to breaking down barriers for women over 60. Helen became a role model for generations of actresses who looked to her as proof that talent, not age, should dictate opportunity. As she noted in a 2021 interview, "The older you get, the more you should embrace your power. It's only then that you truly begin to understand who you are." In 2023, at age 78, Helen took on multiple film roles, each more ambitious than the last. Her role in Shazam! Fury of the Gods saw her playing Hespera, a mythological goddess, proving she could bring gravitas to even the most fantastical characters. She also appeared in Fast 10, further establishing herself as a beloved figure in mainstream cinema, but perhaps the most surprising was her cameo in Barbie, where she lent her iconic voice as the narrator.
Note to the filmmakers, Margot Robbie is the wrong person to cast if you want to make this point.
You're beautiful.
Audiences were delighted to hear her crisp British accent guiding them through the colourful world of Barbie, showcasing her sense of humour and willingness to embrace pop culture. At nearly 80 now, Helen Mirren is a testament to the power of resilience, passion, and reinvention. She proves that no matter your age, you can keep breaking barriers, inspiring others, and achieving greatness.
If you enjoyed this video, there's a good chance you'll also enjoy the one showing on your screen right now. Click, enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you on the next one.